Welcome back to the Deep Dig, a sports pod. I'm your host, Drew. My other host is right over there.
What's up? It's D. Good to see you again. It is, coming off of a 49ers victory, an epic week one. I'm feeling pretty good. How about you?
I'm feeling great. I mean, we had some audio issues the past couple weeks because of my move, but I'm settling in. As you can see, wait, did my mic just unplug? No, do I still sound good?
Yeah, you're
Okay,
good.
we're just like the 49ers. I'm pulling it together all at the right time, and we got the audio back. My mic is here, and I'm ready to talk some Niners winning.
Yes. So this week, we're going to be talking about the 49ers win. Looking forward to the next week with the Rams. We're going to be touching base, obviously, on Aaron Rodgers' injury. Overreactions to the week one, and then touching base on Chris Jones getting his brand new contract and suiting up. Thank you, Lions. But before we get into that, go ahead and hit that like button. Go ahead and subscribe. Go ahead and drop some comments below. Everything really helps us as far as pushing our content, and we are creeping on that 200 marker.
We need one more of you guys who are listening.
And we know a lot of you motherfuckers aren't subscribed, so go ahead and hit that subscribe.
And you guys are commenting, and you guys still aren't subscribing.
Do it.
But it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, no,
because
no.
We're in a good mood this week. Because guess what? Our diamond pick hit. We made a couple hundos. Make sure you subscribe because we do the diamond pick every Saturday, the best 49ers bets of the week. And we're winning. And the 49ers are winning. So let's right off the bat get into quick reactions of the 49ers Steelers game. What are your immediate thoughts?
So I was thinking, this is a Super Bowl team. Like, I know it is obviously an overreaction. It's week one. If everyone had a great performance week one and won the Super Bowl, yeah, it'd be awesome. But this is legit a Super Bowl contender in the 49ers. They looked awesome. This was an opponent that had a lot of buzz. I even had my doubts coming into it because Kyle Shanahan and the 49ers do start off the season very slow. We've seen it last year. They lost to the Bears. They then lost to the Broncos. So I was expecting a little bit of that. And they came out guns blazing, ready to go. It was awesome. I think this team is very, very special, and they all know that the goal is Super Bowl this year. Can they achieve it? I know it's going to be hard, but I think this team can do that.
I mean, my overreactions for this game, Brock Purdy can win MVP. If Brock Purdy, this was I was texting the group chat during the game. If Brock Purdy wasn't the last pick in the draft, would we be talking about him as an MVP candidate? I know it's week one, but if you put together his performance last year, which he was ranked in top 5 in all the statistical categories from when he became a starter, and then you lump in this great game on one of the best teams in the league, I feel like he's not getting the respect he deserves. I go on and like Nick Wright's going on talking about, oh, well, anyone could be good at quarterback for the Niners.
We've seen it, and it's not true.
Yeah, exactly. So I think Brock Purdy is earning some more respect, but definitely, like Micah Parsons just went on and said that he needs more respect.
I think he called him a top 15 QB in the league, which is pretty right.
By the end of the year, he's gonna be top 10, easy.
If he continues to play like this, we've seen the 49ers just score more points with Brock Purdy at the helm. Yeah, it does help that Christian McCaffrey is there. They have all these offensive weapons, but you need a guy in the middle of the field to really direct everything, make sure to keep the composure, call out audibles, things like that. And Brock Purdy just kind of has that mentality of I've been here. I can do this. Don't worry, guys. I got us.
And it's not just within the offense, though. He is extending plays, and he's doing more than what Kyle Shanahan is asking of him.
Yeah, and that's kind of the next level of what the Shanahan offense really needed. It did need a guy that would take the playbook, do what you need to do, but also elevate it, make it your own, kind of ad lib and do all these different things. And yeah, Brock Purdy can do that.
Another takeaway from the game, just on the defensive side of the ball, we knew Nick Bosa was going to be back. We were like, is his limited snap count maybe? Drake Jackson looking like a stud, a steal of a draft pick in the second round last year. 3 sacks, and he looked dominant on those plays, on those sacks. And then I also texted, I don't know if I texted you, but during the game, I know before we were worried about the secondary, not saying that they were going to be bad, but we were thinking, and could this be a bottom of the barrel, like towards the bottom 10 of the league secondary? This secondary to me, I was like, this has potential to be one of the best secondaries in the league. Right.
Noah Hufanga just finds the ball, dude. On top of being the heat-seeking missile that he is, this guy is an absolute ball hawk. I was not expecting that out of him. I know, like, we've seen it last year. Yeah, he's awesome. It's amazing, like, what he does on the field. I figured that they might drop him in the box a little bit more, have him play that hybrid linebacker spot, but he looks awesome. He just has a knack for finding the ball, whether it's pass deflections or interceptions. He's on it.
Yeah, him. I mean, Mooney Ward is. We knew he's
Yeah.
a solid dog, and then Demo Lenore, I think, just continues to solidify himself. Where like people start to question, like, is he gonna be like the for sure starter? And he just keeps on proving, like, okay, this is the guy. This is the guy. He's kind of like the next Emmanuel Mosley, where like we're gonna trust him, and he's just gonna be solid. And
Yeah.
I'm cool with that. And then as far as the nickel spot, I mean, Ambry Thomas played a lot of snaps, right?
Yeah, he looked good.
Yeah. So, I mean, if he ever starts to struggle, we just swap him out with one of the other guys, like Isaiah Oliver, see what he has. I'm any other guy on the Sam Womack. So we haven't even seen us unleash Jair Brown on the league. So I'm feeling great about this secondary.
Yeah, man. And of course, it makes it a lot easier when you have all of that talent on the front end. When you have Bosa, Armstead, Drake Jackson, Hargraves, and then the linebacking core is just flies to the ball. So yeah, it does make their job a whole lot easier.
Did this defense look like they had more intensity than in previous years? I feel like everyone was flying.
I think everyone is just a little again, I think it's the whole team mentality of this year we're making the Super Bowl and we're winning it. I think everyone
We
knows
go to
that's
Super
the
Bowl
goal.
and we gonna win that bitch.
Yeah. I think that's just kind of the collective mentality of this. And it starts with the head coach. And I know like me and you last year did kind of shit on Kyle a little bit because you can't drop those games to these bottom tier teams and expect to be taken as seriously as you should be. But you come out here, you punch the Steelers in the mouth, and then you roll into the next week feeling fucking great about yourself. Let's do it, dude.
This feels like a new Kyle Shanahan a little bit too, where he's just 110% trusting the quarterback. He's calling anything he wants. He's being aggressive, which we know Kyle in the past. When it gets to like the end of the half, we're like, well, he's gonna knee it out. And we're gonna go to halftime. This guy's going for a fourth down early in the game. Like, who is this guy?
Yeah, man. I mean, you can do that when you have Mr. Irrelevant as your starting quarterback. Like he is literally getting paid. I think he is the least paid starting quarterback in the entire league. But they filled out the entire roster because of it. And they still have $41 million in cap space. They're primed to make another move.
But where do you even add? Like,
I have no
everyone's
idea.
stacked. I mean, get trade for a star right tackle, maybe.
Well, Collins just got released from the Bengals.
Yeah,
That's
little banged
that's an
up.
upgrade at right tackle. He's injured right now on the PUP list, but I mean that would be an upgrade. That was a side of the line we did see. I would be surprised if they didn't move over like Aaron Donald next week to that right side of the line and be like, hey, have at it, bud.
I wouldn't be mad at a second star tight end either.
Yeah. Brian Burns, another elite
You
pass
gonna take away
rusher.
Drake Jackson off that field? Drake Jackson.
I mean, you can always add You do a race car package like the New York Giants did that year they won the Super Bowl.
Well, I mean, we're getting a little off the Steelers Niners game. So just to bring it back, I know the Steelers, we were worried about this game. Like we both kind of thought 49ers might lose this game. Because they were like firing on all cylinders all through preseason. The hype was like building for Pickett. And I mean, I said before, I'm not a believer in Kenny Pickett. I don't see it. And I was starting to kind of come around and be like, well, maybe he is the guy. Maybe he can prove something. And he's like putting it together. But after that, I mean, he looked dog water in this game. Like,
well, I mean, I don't know if you've seen the Twitter doctors, they were all saying that Kenny Pickett might have been concussed after the third play in the game. He got slammed. His head hit the turf really hard, actually fucking hard. And so I could see it being like a Tua situation where they just kind of let it ride and no one really checked on him. Where are the independent doctors at? They should have actually checked on him after that play. But who knows? Maybe they did. It wasn't on camera. But yeah, that was one theory that was thrown out there, that he was concussed. They just look stale. I mean, I just don't know what the offensive coordinator, Matt Canada, is doing with the Steelers. Like, they just didn't find a rhythm.
Yeah, Najee did absolutely nothing, who I have on my fantasy team. I also have Aaron Rodgers on my fantasy team, and I had Travis Kelce. So it was a
Every
rough
day.
week for the Puff Rush Pass fantasy team. But it just felt weird that they do have weapons. They do have a lot of talent on that team, and it felt like they're not even in the same league. This felt like Alabama versus D2.
Yeah. I mean, did you see what our boy, who was it? Was it Debo? No, it was someone on offense. One of the offensive stars was like, God damn, can the Steelers get a first down? Like, we're tired. We're out there all the time. Like, we're out there this whole game, dude.
And that's kind of what it turned into. Like, the game.
Oh, it was Trent.
So
It was Trent Williams. Trent Williams said it.
The game was so out of hand that it got boring for a while. Where I was like, man, I kind of wanted the Steelers to score so we can like have something interesting to watch, because we were just beating the shit out of them. And I like the game. If there was a mercy rule of just like, hey, you guys don't have it. You guys aren't even trying. Let's just end this game and walk away. Like, they should have turned off the Xbox and left.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. And that, you never really see that out of a Mike Tomlin team. So I wouldn't, again, they did have a couple of injuries. They had Deontay Johnson get hurt. They had Cam get hurt. So there was a couple key injuries, and we'll see how they end up rebounding. I do expect them to be good this year. Maybe I'm wrong.
We'll see. But looking forward, the 49ers got the Rams next week. They upset the Seahawks. I lost some money on that, but what are we feeling about this Rams team that has Puka as their star receiver? I think his name Puka
I think that's his
Nakua.
first name.
Puka Nukwa or Nakwa. Well, that guy, and who's their other receiver? That Tutu Atwell's out there.
Yeah, Tutu Atwell.
Van Jefferson.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bunch of like 3s and 4s, which is cool. But
they went off.
Because they couldn't run the ball. Like, that's the only thing. Like, they did not have a run game in this game. They got really lucky that for some reason the Seahawks just sputtered out. They just could not put together an offensive drive in the second half. They had, I think, 13 plays, and they had at one point like -2 yards in the entire half. It was pretty ridiculous. I'm thinking that, the Rams are going to suck this year. They are going to suck this year. Let's be real. You can't keep up with that performance, especially with that crop of guys. And the Seahawks, who everyone thought was going to be like pretty decent this year, they might suck too. It might be an easy road for the 49ers to get a playoff clinch by winning this division. This division looks like it's going to be trash.
Yeah, surprisingly, I thought the Seahawks would challenge the Niners this year for that top spot. And after that, I'm like, okay, Geno letdown year. Like, come back to earth, because you don't go into a game with that much talent. Like, literally, your third receiver is Jackson Smith and Jigba, who I think could be amazing for them. You have Kenneth Walker. You have Charbonnet as your backup, who looks like he's going to be pretty good. And you have a great defense.
Yeah.
And you're getting blown out by Matthew Stafford and a bunch of guys he can't hang out with.
He doesn't know their names?
Yeah. And then Cam Akers, like the guy they didn't want, but they had to settle to bring him back, and he didn't look great either.
And I mean, besides Aaron Donald, can you name anybody else on the defense?
Yeah, and that's my thing. Like, the Rams, their whole thing was, we're going to get we're going to get big names, we're going to get stars. And they have no stars anymore. They have Matthew Stafford and Aaron Donald, and they beat the shit out of the Seahawks with just those guys. Like, and you want me to be now afraid of the Seahawks? And then just to round out this divisional talk, the Cardinals surprising performance against Commanders, but that felt like just a battle of like two terrible teams.
It really felt like they put everything into that effort. Everyone was talking shit about us. Let's go out and show them, and then you still don't get the dub. And I think next week it comes all tumbling down.
Yeah, I think it
But
might be more of an indictment on the Commanders than the Cardinals.
I think so. But I mean, I'm not. I think we could see another just ass whooping with the 49ers taking on the Rams. The 49ers have, like, Kyle Shanahan has Sean McVay's card to begin with. I don't think this is a very good team moving forward. I'm thinking this diamond pick, I haven't looked at the spread yet, but I'll take, 49ers big win.
Yeah, I think last I checked, it was like 49ers minus 6.5.
I'll take them at like minus 10.5, dude. I'll take them at minus 13.
Well, we'll get to that on Saturday, so make sure you subscribe. We're going to give you that diamond pick. Nothing about this Rams team scares me, and like you said, we were beating the Rams for the most part when they were at their best, when they had all these stars, and now they're kind of depleted, and we're looking more stacked than ever. The only thing I would hope is if we do get a great lead, let's not run McCaffrey
1,000 times.
20 extra times to end the game. I know you're trying to make a statement, you're trying to keep that momentum, but I mean, you don't think Jordan Mason could get out there and like just run people over for a quarter? Like, let's just kill some clock.
Yeah, dude. I mean, when you got a fast car, it wants to go fast. You know what I mean? So I get it, but at the same time, you got to kind of pace yourself out. I'm sure we are going to see a little bit more of a mix moving forward because Christian McCaffrey just can't do it. But I mean, we thought that last year, and it was the Christian McCaffrey show. Like, Kyle Shanahan just loves this guy, and I think Christian McCaffrey loves it too. Like, he's just a gamer, bro. Like, all he wants to do is like, hey, go ahead and give me the ball. I got this.
And a huge Ayuk year. Let's look out for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, let us know in the comments. What do you think about the Rams 49ers game? You think it's going to be a blowout? You think the Rams are for real? Yeah, let us know. The other big news that happened on Monday Night Football, huge moment. Aaron Rodgers comes in for his premiere as a New York Jet. The whole city's out there, crowds going wild. The city's been loving this guy, hard knock star. And 4 plays. That's how long it lasted. Devastating. Did you see the video I sent you where it zooms in on the leg and it shows the Achilles pop? So he's confirmed Achilles tear, done for the season. Man, how are we feeling right now?
I was so hyped for that Monday night matchup. Aaron Rodgers comes in holding the flag. They do the tribute. It was fucking awesome. Everything was electric. This is like, all right, like, hey, we're looking at another Super Bowl contender here. Like, I'm ready to rip. We know that the defense was going to be awesome. We know Aaron Rodgers has the ability for greatness. And it just seemed like this entire offseason, he was just excited to be there. It was such a 180 from Packers Aaron Rodgers, where he fucking hated everything and everyone. It was awesome, dude. And then 4 plays in, it was like, the best way I could describe it is when you're watching the other guys for the first time, the Will Ferrell, Mark Wahlberg vehicle, and The Rock and Samuel L. Jackson jump off that building and die. And you're like, what the fuck? Did that just happen? And then it cuts to the funeral scene and you're like, holy shit, it did happen. What the fuck? No way. That's exactly what I felt in that moment. It was just so shocking. I literally yelled out across the fucking house because I live here, like, and there's no one else that knows football. So I'm like, ah! It was insane. And so you definitely feel for the guy because this was going to be a special year. But the entire, like, problem around Hard Knocks was that they had a shit O-line. Their O-line needed to be better. And even before that play he got hurt, he was, I think, of the 4 plays, he was under pressure 3 of those plays. The offensive line looked like fucking garbage. They deserve to, like, just all be fired at this point. Like, you guys got our star quarterback hurt. Like, fuck you. I would not be surprised if we seen some shakeups, if we see some trades moving forward. Like, they got to beef up that line.
Should have got Bakhtiari.
Yeah, for reals. They should have. Aaron wanted him.
Yeah, it's tough because I feel like we're losing so much here. Just the the season he was about to have, it was going to be so interesting regardless of what happened on the field. Like if they were winning, if they're losing, it was going to be interesting and like exciting to watch. I mean, it changes the it changes the trajectory of a lot of careers right there for the Jets and even
Yeah.
the division. Like it has so much impact because now Josh Allen, who didn't look great, he can just go on and potentially win the division. You know, like it's
Josh
another
Allen looked ass.
yeah, but it opens the door even more now to where like okay, now it's us and the Dolphins, Bills Dolphins. Who's this gonna be? Because I don't trust Zach Wilson to really carry them to a division title. And Robert Saleh looked defeated. Like this could end up being something that just wrecks his career because he was going to go on like he's obviously a good coach, but if you lose out like this season where you had all this hype and then next year Aaron Rodgers still isn't back, maybe he retires, like what does that do for you? Now you're starting with a rookie quarterback or you're still rolling with Zach Wilson? Like this could be devastating for him.
It's just crazy, like what goes into an NFL season, all the preparation, all of the buzz and the hype, all of the work that comes from the offensive, defensive coordinators, everything that goes into it. And then one play where this guy just puts his weight on his foot in the wrong way and it snaps and that just derails your entire season. It's crazy. I mean, they said Zach Wilson is their guy. I don't believe it, if I'm going to be completely honest. I think that they should be looking to trade for Sam Darnold. They should be looking to trade for Jameis Winston. Uh, if you
Tom
call up
Brady, TB12,
Ben Roethlisberger,
Philip Rivers.
Joe Flacco said that he wants to come back. Colin Kaepernick said he wants to come back.
It,
So, like,
how terrible does the Mike White losing look for him now? Because Mike White
it
was
looks pretty
loved.
bad.
Yeah, he was loved in that locker room. Had a lot of juice. Looked great some games, and now you just lost. You lost him for nothing.
Yeah. I mean, but you figured Aaron Rodgers was going to be there. Well, do we really need Mike White? And we have to keep Zach Wilson because his contract is fucking crazy. So I don't know, man. And do we really? Again, it would have been if they would have kept Mike White, it would have been the Trey Lance thing, but in New York.
Yeah, yeah. It's tough. Like it's gonna be interesting to watch. Even more so now, what Zach Wilson looks like, what they do, how this maybe a trade for a Sam Darnold, or I know we were talking about maybe Brandon Allen even
Yeah.
because the 49ers were looking at Ian Book.
And
Uh,
I don't think that comes out of nowhere. Like to make it, a little bit about that. The 49ers do work out Ian Book. Ian Book was on the Jets like list of quarterbacks that they were going to take a look at. Maybe it is. Maybe because you already went for broke. You put your chips on the table. You're like, this is the season that we're going to do something special. Maybe you do have to pay a second round pick and grab Darnold and just see what you can do. Maybe you do have to, do that for Jameis Winston, who's probably one of the best backups in the league. Hey, you know what? We're going to roll the dice. We know that this guy has been a starter in the league. He's been in the league for a long time. If we just cut down the mistakes for both Darnold and Jameis, if we cut down the mistakes here, we don't need you to be the world we don't need you to be a superhero. We just need you to be a quarterback. We have the defense to do it. Can you do that?
yeah, because I mean, at the end of the day, they won that game.
Yeah.
They beat the Bills without Aaron Rodgers, which is crazy that you can take that loss and still win. And that just tells you how ready this defense is to take that next step. I didn't think this team was a true Super Bowl contender, even with Aaron Rodgers. But after that game, I'm like, okay, yeah, they definitely they could have won a Super Bowl this year. And they
Yeah.
could have, yeah.
Do you think Rodgers retires?
I think he retires. Like he was already on the fence. And now after an Achilles, like you don't even know if he'll be ready for week 1 next season
But
if he came back.
man, I mean, he did change up his contract. He gets more money in the second year. I know he's not a big money guy, but you have to think about it. Like, hey, you know what? And you were just so hyped. Like, he was so excited to play this season. New York really took him under their wings, and they were like, hey, you know what? We're going to show you all the best shit. Like, you're going to eat at all the finest restaurants. You're going to go to all the best shows. You're going to do this. You're going to do that. I think he comes back. I think he doesn't want his legacy to be, I went out on Monday Night Football after 4 plays.
It's not going to be the same though, because it's like half the season next year is going to be ramp up to get him back, and then you got to hope he won enough games early in the season to make the playoffs at the end, and then hopefully everything's firing on all cylinders, and then maybe in 2 years if they could start off fresh. So, but then he's going to be older. So
I don't know, man. I think it's possible. I think we're going to start to see some of these AFC teams maybe next year, like, just start to cannibalize each other and really fall off a little bit. I know the saying is iron sharpens iron, but if you're getting hit against iron so many times, you're going to crumble.
Yeah, I mean, the NFC is starting to make a push back.
Yeah.
And it looks like it's starting to tilt. And we'll get into that next. Now, let us know in the comments. You think the Jets are going to make a move? You think they're going to roll with Zach Wilson? How you feeling about Aaron Rodgers? But I just want to get into kind of our overreactions from the past weekend. What are some of the big things that happened? And we can't talk about the AFC, NFC thing that we were bringing up because, I mean, Joe Burrow looked terrible. Crazy high contract. Can't be the Browns. I mean, what were some of your big moments this weekend?
Joe Burrow is still injured. He should be pulled for the next few weeks. That's my reaction there. My other big reaction is Baker Mayfield is a dog. Like, I was not expecting that. Like, I think Baker, I know he's trying to find his forever home. I think he might have found it with the Bucs. Like, Baker actually looked really good. He's still like the old Baker where he's talking shit. Did you see that video where he's like, get your weight up, son? Get your weight up. Dude, he looks good.
Yeah, I have one. The Raiders and Broncos look terrible. Broncos don't look any better than last year. Russell Wilson, I think he's just done. Like, he's not the guy. He's not the guy. They got Kevin James on the sideline, and we can't get a couple touchdowns in.
No, can't do it. Jordan Love, it's love season. It's the season of love. He looks awesome. Is he the next great Packers quarterback? I think so.
No. Okay, I'll get into this because I think
so.
I told you, I called this. It was Packers were plus 100 underdogs for this game. I was like, they're gonna win. They're definitely gonna win this game.
It's not like I said no. I said yeah.
Yeah.
But anyways, go ahead.
But what I'm saying is, the Bears are not a good team. They're not good, and everyone hyped them up because they want to believe in Justin Fields. They added DJ Moore and nothing else, and they're like, oh, now this team's they're back. Because they have a receiver. Their defense does not have enough talent. Their O-line is not good. Their run game outside of Justin Fields is not great. I mean, they just don't have a lot of talent. And to see like they got hyped up so much, I knew like, okay, Packers are solid. They're well coached. They have talent. They want to hit you in the face. Like, this is for sure going to be an easy win. So I take that more as Bears are just not great. Then Jordan Love is great. I just want to see more from Jordan Love, and then I'll determine.
Jordan Love's great. I don't know what you're talking about. It's love season. What are you talking about?
You're loving it. But what do you think about the Bears?
The Bears are ass. Like, they're good.
Sorry, Bears fan. No, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, stop trying to make it work. It's not going to happen.
All right, go ahead.
My next reaction, the NFL has found its next great running back in Bijan Robinson. Did you see his first touchdown?
Yeah.
He looked fucking awesome. He phased through 2 people and got to the end zone somehow. What the hell? All right, he looks odd. I think that the Falcons aren't going to win a lot of games this year, and they're completely fine. And I've seen this tweet, and I was like, yes. It was like the Shador Sanders Falcons jersey is going to sell out draft day.
That's going to be hard. The only downside to Bijan being so great is they already have Algier, who looks like a great back still. So it's like I wish he went to another team and he could just be the solo guy.
Speaking of which, Jahmyr Gibbs is in the same boat. He looks awesome. He looks explosive. He's breaking tackles. He's cutting out chunks of yardage. And then they're still putting around with David Montgomery.
And staying in that same vein,
Yeah.
from the Saints, Rashid Shaheed, looking dominant, looking speedy. That guy's a dog. That he's gonna make some noise definitely this season.
Mm-hmm.
Something else, the Vikings, super disappointing. The Titans and Saints both looked pretty bad, I think. There was just like a lot of games this week where you like both teams, you were like, they're both bad, and it's just whoever's gonna be worse. Commanders, super disappointing. I thought they'd come out explosive. I thought Terry was gonna go off, Jahan Dotson, and just Sam Howell just man, he just didn't look sure at times. And maybe that's just, first game of the season jitters. He's a young quarterback, but this has one and done quarterback all written all over it, and maybe Ron Rivera fired midseason.
I mean, I was surprised that they kept him this offseason, realistically. I thought when he forgot that they were in the playoff hunt and got eliminated, I thought that was like his stamp of, all right, I'm fucking done. But they kept him.
Did you see that he said if he would have known Sam Howell was this good, he would have played him sooner? And everyone's like, you're like the GM and the
you were fucking in there watching practice. You're supposed to be watching tape, bro.
Did you know why Sam Howell started at the end of last season?
It was because Taylor Heineke said.
Taylor Heineke, the guy who's a backup quarterback right now, could have put more tape on the field, said, no. You guys are dumb. This guy's good. Play Sam Howell.
Jets should trade for Taylor Heineke.
Taylor Heineke, I'd love him to be my starting quarterback if we didn't have Brock Purdy. Yeah, Commanders are disappointing. The Patriots, if they had receivers,
pretty good.
They look good right now.
Pretty good.
Mac Jones a guy. Mac Jones is a guy.
I think Mac Jones is a guy.
He's the guy. Yeah, they look really good. Dolphins look like they could win a Super Bowl.
Oh my god, they're fucking world beaters.
I called that game too. I was like, Dolphins are like, they started off as like 6-point dogs before that game, and I managed to live bet it when they were minus 5.5, and so
plus 5.5,
plus 5.5. Yeah, they were big underdogs for that game, and I was like, nah, I don't trust Herbert and this offense to put it together, and it turned out, the defense really let him down. But
I mean, but the offensive line at the end fucked him too. Herbert couldn't get a pass off in that last drive, but Tua, that last strike to Tyreek Hill was awesome. Right off the defender's shoulder into Tyreek's chest. What ball placement, dude. If Tua can stay healthy, which is a big if. So, like, this offseason, I was watching Carson Palmer talk about him, right? And he was like, that's, like, kind of weird that Tua had to go to jiu-jitsu classes to learn how to fall down, to learn how to get hit and not, get hurt. He was like, you learn that shit in middle school and high school. So, like, it does concern me that you're still getting injured and you still have to re-teach yourself how to fall down. So, that is, like, one thing I kind of have red flagged for Tua. Can he stay healthy? Like, can he truly? Because one more concussion, I think he's done. But on the field, he looks amazing. In college, his thing was, I throw the best deep ball ever. And then what did they go out and get? They got one of the best deep ball receivers since Randy Moss.
Yeah, the Tyreek Hill Tua connection is ridiculous. And then just to have Jalen Waddle on the other side, you're like, it's a little unfair. It's a little unfair that these guys are doing this. I wish 49ers didn't make that Trey Lance trade and we had some of that star power. There was one more game, the last game I wanted to kind of talk about, but I'm trying to remember which one. Do you have any others?
I'm good.
It was Anthony Richardson.
Oh, you're right.
Anthony Richardson, I think he looked great. I mean, all Bryce Young, Richardson, and CJ Stroud looked pretty good. So I think
they look like rookie quarterbacks.
They look like rookie quarterbacks, but I mean, they didn't look bad.
No. It's like
But
where
Anthony Richardson,
you have a bad play, you have a good play. You have one that's like, oh, if you would have hit it, that would have been awesome. Like, that's the kind of the ebb and flow of having a rookie quarterback.
but Anthony Richardson looks like he's on par with these guys when he was supposed to be a project, supposed to not be ready. Like he looked like a leader out there, and almost basically to his detriment because it's the 10-point game, less than a minute left, and he's trying to run into the end zone, gets
Yeah.
hurt. So like less of that. Let's get a little more awareness, guy. Like let's slide there. The game's over. Like you lost. Um, so a little worried about that, but I'm feeling good about Anthony Richardson. And all right, let's ride into the next topic because a lot's going on with these overreactions. We kind of want to talk
Sorry.
about.
Had to
You good?
sneeze there. I was
Oh,
over here struggling.
well, speaking of struggling, let's talk about some of these quarterbacks. Let's go down the list a little bit. Now that we've seen Week 1 play out, what teams do we think are drafting a quarterback next year?
Obviously, the Cardinals. We have that one marked. Caleb Williams is not going to go to the Cardinals. So they better fucking hope that they don't get the number 1 pick or they can trade the number 1 pick, right? So the Cardinals. I think the Bears.
I think the Bears.
Bears. Again, this is not Justin Fields' head coach or GM. I'm sure that they're going to want their own guy and restart their contract. You know what I mean? You restart your clock. You're like, hey, you know what? We're going to keep developing our team. We're going to grow it the way we want to. Justin, hey, sorry, you're not our guy. See you later.
Well,
So
I think there's like two categories we could kind of put these into is teams that probably should draft a rookie quarterback next year and teams that contractually can't draft one, but they definitely should. Because like, okay, the Bears definitely like I think they can, but someone like the Giants, I think they would
should.
love to draft a quarterback next year, but they just signed Daniel Jones.
Yeah.
And like maybe the Broncos, like they would love to have a great rookie quarterback, but
Can't do it.
So let's kind of keep that little caveat in when we're making this list.
Okay. So I think someone that it's gonna be borderline if they can or not. It's really gonna come down to this offseason. The Minnesota Vikings. I know, like, are you gonna pay Kirk Cousins another mega deal? Or are you going to start fresh? Hey, you know what? We've kind of got this mid reboot. We do have an explosive offense. Our defense is kind of trash. Do we kind of start over or do we keep it with what we've got and try to build off of that? I think they're going to be in an interesting spot this offseason. The Seahawks. Geno looks like he's come back to earth, and they did do a kind of team-friendly, Geno-friendly deal where they can get out of it. So I feel like if there is a quarterback that they really like, they are going to take a quarterback.
Yeah, let me throw like 4 teams who I'm like they for sure can take a quarterback next year. The Falcons, the Rams,
Yep.
the Titans, the Commanders for sure could take a quarterback. They could draft a quarterback next year. I want to say Raiders, but like Aiden O'Connell looked good. I kind of want to commit to him.
What are you talking? Jimmy G, all he does is win, bro.
And someone I'm on the fence about is like the Steelers. The Steelers and Jets, I think, are the two that are like on the fence. Where like,
Yeah.
do you want to commit to another year of Pickett? Is Aaron Rodgers going to be back? Who knows? Yeah, the rest, I think they have their quarterbacks or they have rookies.
I mean, are some of these would you double dip on rookies? Like, I know you said Titans. Titans have drafted 2 rookies or drafted 2 quarterbacks in the last 2 drafts. Do they make it a third?
I mean, I definitely think they could. I think Rams need to, like Matthew Stafford looked great. He was great, but if we could get a rookie in here next year, and then in 2 years that guy's ready, and we could get off of Matthew Stafford's contract and start rebuilding that team, like that's how I'd be looking at it. And then Falcons, is Desmond Ridder the guy?
No, fuck no.
Is
He threw for 100 yards. Get out of here.
Is Tampa Bay Baker? Is he going to be the guy for the next couple years?
I don't know. I could see it happen. Now, I was thinking that they were going to be trash, but like the way Baker came out was just super hyped about it. Like he was fighting for all that yardage. He looked good. He looked accurate. I'll have to see a couple more weeks
Yeah.
of it, but yeah.
And on the flip side of that, like someone like the Saints, if it looks like this all year, then I don't think Derek Carr you could keep him around again because the offense has weapons, and we'll
Yeah.
see after Kamara gets back in like week 3 or week 4, whatever. But yeah, there's just like not a lot of explosiveness to them. There was few here and there with Shaheed, but yeah, I didn't like how it looked. The Browns, I think they could they wish they would take that contract back
Oh
because
my
they
goodness.
won, but I mean, Deshaun didn't look amazing.
You know, the Browns are really like they have to be kicking themselves. Like, not only did you sign the only guaranteed money quarterback in the entire league, you did it for a guy who's kind of a piece of shit. A piece of shit. Like, you know what I mean? And he's not even good. He sat out for a fucking year and a half, pretty much,
I
and
think
you could still see the rust.
I think he got booed in the beginning of the game.
I mean, he deserves it. He deserves to get booed everywhere.
One that I think the quarterback answered all the questions is Jared Goff.
Oh yes.
I think they're not drafting a quarterback. I think Patriots they solidified their guy. I mean, this is week 1, so anything could change. But I mean, just right off the bat, look like the eye test of these.
Dak Prescott.
Yeah, I think.
I
Well,
mean, he didn't throw a pick.
I think they loved him. I think they were like, we're gonna commit to him no matter what, even if he looks trash for a while. But he definitely, I mean, he made a good case for himself that game. That's about it. I mean, the rest are just have like they're committed. I mean, Brock Purdy. There you go.
Yeah.
Brock
Made it.
Purdy, he's solidified. I mean, to me, last year he was solidified as like the franchise guy, but you know, I'm a Brock Purdy fan. But he's definitely solidified himself as the franchise guy going forward.
Yeah.
What do we got left today? We have the the Chris Jones contract.
Yeah, Chris Jones ended up signing after the Chiefs lose to the Lions.
It probably would have
It
helped. Probably would have helped being on the field.
really weird contract. So it's worth up to 25 mil, but his base stays the same. It's all incentives. So they really did drive a hard bargain with Chris. I'm glad that they got this deal done because now there's no asterisks next to any win against the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs are going to be good this year, but I mean, again, it's going to be hard when every single week you're getting the best of the best effort from these teams. Do you think? First off, what do you think of the holdout? What do you think of the result of the holdout, and was it worth it?
I mean, if it's incentives based, I'm sure he can hit them pretty easily. But we couldn't come up with this a week ago. Like, if we were gonna do incentive based, this could have been solved sooner, and probably could have won that Detroit game. And
Yeah,
that could affect you way later down the line. I mean, Chiefs can go off and rattle probably 14 wins in a row and not be affected by this, but with Travis Kelce being banged up, the receiving core looking straight garbage. I mean every win counts in the NFL, and your star players got to play. So
I mean, the guy was your best defensive player last year, and you're gonna nickel and dime him. Like that's kind of bullshit. Like as an organization, you should be embarrassed. You didn't put your best players out in the field. Yeah, you could have got this done 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. That's pretty ridiculous.
that's like I think a theme though with this Chiefs organization where like they're so good that I feel like they tend to coast sometimes, and then they bring the urgency like later on, and they're like, okay, we're really good, so we'll just win now, and it's paid off for them. Because remember, like, was it last year they started slow and everyone's like, oh, they're gonna miss playoffs, and then they just turn it on because they're so much better than everyone.
Mhm.
And I feel like this was one of those moments where they're like, yeah, we could just coast without him for if he doesn't want to show up, and then we'll sign him and we'll get back to like Super Bowl level.
Yeah, as Andy Reid said, the train keeps rolling.
Yeah, so like I'm just kind of waiting to see when that laid back vibe kind of bites them. Because I mean, it affected Tampa with the last year of Tom Brady. So, you know, we'll see
Yeah,
what
and
happens then.
also, like, it's not I mean, yeah, you have the great pitch of free agency, which you like, "Hey, come with us. You're gonna take a little bit less money, but you're gonna have a chance to win Super Bowls." But it doesn't really help the guys that you draft and you're like, "All right, cool. Like, let's go ahead and do this. If your name's not Travis Kelce or Patrick Mahomes, we're not gonna pay you. We're not gonna pay you market value." So it doesn't send a great message. I'm gonna be completely honest.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we'll see. We just got to get into our last topic. We're kind of going long on time here. So much happened week one,
It was a
but
hefty week one.
we want to welcome you to our final segment. It's going to be on every Sunday during the NFL season. It is the Deep Dig Disco, disco short for Discovery, where we talk about anything. It could be a movie, could be a show, could be a book, literally anything that we discovered this week.
Yeah. And so, I mean, we love sports, obviously. This is a sports pod, but I mean, we can't be consumed with sports 24/7, 365. So we have other interests in pop culture. Uh, my disco for the week is I went to Boots in the Park. It was a country concert in Fresno, which I think it does travel a couple different places. And we saw Kane Brown. We saw the lead singer of Florida Georgia Line, and then we saw this group called Low Cash. So my disco is the group Low Cash. They were awesome to see live. I believe it's two brothers, and just seeing their energy. So I think they did like an hour-long set, and it was fucking awesome. They started off doing a couple of covers. They did one of the Beach Boys, which actually really fucking rocked. And then they got into their own stuff. It was really cool. They knew how to work a crowd. I would highly suggest checking them out. They are the country artist Low Cash, LOCASH, Low Cash.
Nice. I'm gonna definitely check that out. Cause who was the headliner? It was
It was Kane Brown.
Oh, okay. It wasn't the person you mentioned. Was it Jelly? What was his name? Jelly Bean? Jelly Roll?
Jelly Roll. And
Oh
we're
yeah.
going to see him this Friday coming up.
Okay. Yeah. Check our other disco to hear about him. Mine is actually a book because I can read, and I tend to read some from time to time. Mine's a book called "You've Got Red on You." It is how Shaun of the Dead was created. The movie by director Edgar Wright, one of my favorite directors. Really cool style. It's pretty unique. He's done like Ant-Man. He's done Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, Scott Pilgrim,
Baby
uh,
Driver.
Baby Driver. So really great director. It's a fun book. It really goes back to kind of his origin of like how he first started getting into directing. Gets so much cool insight that like if you're someone who likes to like look behind the camera and see how everything comes together, this book goes in depth. And it's not even just like the making of the film stuff, it's like how they came together as a crew of people. Like it goes into like Simon Pegg, his backstory of um what's the guy's name from Shaun of the Dead, Ed, his roommate.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, played by Nick Frost. Like him and Nick Frost were like roommates way back in the day in like a shitty apartment, and how they kind of like went through stand up together and then went through shows. And so it's just like really cool to see the origins of it, and then it like flashes forward to like them making the Shaun of the Dead movie. So if you're a fan of Edgar Wright or Shaun of the Dead, highly recommend this book. It's a great read.
Awesome. And so this was the disco. So check out Low Cash. Go ahead and read that book. What was it again?
You've Got Red on You by Clark Collis, and
So
watch Shaun of the Dead. This is
yeah,
one of my
check it
favorite
out.
movies.
Might as well. And before you do, go ahead and hit that like button. Go ahead and subscribe. Drop some comments below. What are you into this week? Let us know.
See ya.
Later.